All right, here we go. We're going to attempt the practice test assembly. It looks like this, and it's called the chain link assembly. So for questions 7 and 8, these are the parts you're going to need right here. There's a zipped folder. There are 3 parts in there. You've got this green long peg, you've got a blue short peg, and then you've got this yellow gripper. I don't remember what they call that. Anyways, first thing you want to do is click this, download it, save it into your files, ideally your Google Drive or your H Drive, really doesn't matter. And then you're going to want to right click on that folder and say extract files because it's a zipped folder. Once you do so, you're probably going to get something that looks like this. Long pin, short pin, chain link. Okay. Once you have those, you're going to be able to start populating them into your SOLIDWORKS assembly. So, moving towards that, once you have SOLIDWORKS open, you're going to open a new file, and the middle option is assembly, and we will, I've already got that open, so we're going to look something like this, and we're going to go to a couple different things. Good thing to remember, down in the bottom right, it'll say IPS, and you may not be able to see mine because of the video image here, but there's IPS right here, inches, pounds, seconds. That is not what you're going to want for any of these SOLIDWORKS tests, unless they specifically say so. But almost always you're going to want to be in millimeters. So make sure you change to millimeters, otherwise you're going to get through the whole part and you're going to realize you did it wrong and you probably have to do the whole thing again. So we're going to change it to millimeters. Now we're going to go ahead and bring in our first part. So if I click on the Assembly tab up here, I can go to Insert Components. And when I'm here, it's going to it automatically popped this open, but if it didn't, you'll just click Browse and then go navigate to wherever you saved it and find it. If you didn't already extract the files, right-click on the zip folder and extract them. But mine are here. Now, because there's a certain way I want to do this, we'll go ahead and close out of there. I'm going to click this pin. What that does, it says keep visible. That means as I'm bringing parts in, it's going to stay open until I've got everything I need. So I'm going to start with this long pin. And what it's saying is, hey, this was created in 2007 software, which means it needs to update some of the stuff. And we're going to say, sure, go ahead. Let's bring this in, and we're going to want 2 of these guys. I'm going to click once, and I'm going to put the other one off to the side because I don't need it quite yet. But we are going to want that first one. And I'm just going to clear that out and go back to Browse, and I'll go get the chain link. And again, it needs to update. And we need 4 of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can right click and clear that out. And we'll go to Browse. And we're going to need that short pin now. Update it. And we're going to need 3 of these guys. 1, 2, 3. And we can say at this point, we got everything we need. Okay. There are certain things you have to do on here. And if you don't do them, you will not get the right answer. And one of the first ones is that this pin needs to be locked to the origin. And I want to show you why. On the practice test, when we look here, you're going to see that there's the X, Y, and Z axis right on the top of that green pin. Okay? The origin of the assembly and the origin of that green pin have been locked together. And it's fixed in place so it can't change. What that means is the 0, 0, 0 position of this entire assembly is right there. And because we're going to be looking for the center of mass, if the origin isn't in the right place, you'll never be able to guess what the answer is. Not that you want to guess anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to see here's the origin of the assembly. You can see it right in the middle. It's that orange dot. And I'm going to go to this first pin right here. I'm going to hit the arrow and expand it. What you're going to see is, hey, the origin of that little green pin is right on the top in the center of that. And I want them to be together. So I'm going to go to Mate. And if you're not already seeing this in here, just click this little guy right here, and that'll make it appear. And we're going to mate the origin of the assembly with the origin of the green pin. And they want to go together, but they can't. And the reason they can't go together right now, I'm going to go to close pin. Mate. The reason they can't go together right now is this green pin was the very first thing I brought into the assembly, which means it's fixed into place or grounded. Okay, so that F right there means it can't move. So I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go to float, and float is going to allow it to now be able to move. That little F went away. So we're going to try this again. We're going to go to Mate and we're going to click this. I'm going to say the origin of the assembly and the origin of the pin should be right together. And I'm going to accept that. And I'm now going to go back to that pin and say, hey, you're right where I need you. I don't want you to move. I'm going to fix you into place. That little F will reappear on the part. It can no longer move. Okay? Next thing I want you to do is you're going to take one of these yellow guys, and I'm going to go ahead and tell the top of that green guy to be right with the top circle of one of those yellow guys. Now, if you look at it, that's not exactly what I wanted. It takes a guess. It tries to guess how you wanted things. You have two options in here. You have aligned and anti-aligned. SOLIDWORKS guessed I wanted anti-aligned. That's not what I wanted, so I'm going to click the other one, and it's going to flip the relation between those two, and that looks really good. And I'm going to go ahead and accept that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close mate at this point, because what you're going to see is that this guy can spin around. It is constrained to the top, but it's not constrained in any particular position. And the reason that's going to be important is if we go back and look at this test question, you're going to see that the front face of this yellow piece is perfectly parallel to that x-axis. So what we're going to want to do is go back to mate, make all of our stuff visible, and if you look at this front plane, I'm going to mate that front plane to this front face, and it just adjusted it and said, hey, do you want them to be parallel? Yes, I do. And that's going to lock that yellow guy into place, so you can't move now either. All right, at this point, we can go ahead and start putting everything together. So for example, we're going to tell that blue guy to be right here. It didn't go the way I want, so I'm going to flip the orientation, the alignment, and that is it, and I'll accept it. I can tell this yellow guy to be right on with there, and it is oriented just how I wanted it. It looks like, I think, not exactly actually. It looks like it might have thrown an offset in there. Oh, it made them concentric. Okay, let's go with that. So I'm going to say accept. I'm going to go ahead and close our mates because I want to show you what that did. It made the two circles concentric, but it still can pivot along here, and it can still move up and down. Okay, not only did we want them concentric, but we wanted, you go to mate, we want this face to also be mated to this inside face right here. And if I accept that, you're going to see that now, not only is it concentric, but those two faces are coplanar with one another, and now it can only move up and down. Okay, so using your mate features of coincident and concentric, I want you to go ahead and build the rest of the chain until you have it fully assembled, like mine will be in just a second. All right, at this point, I do have my chain fully put together. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure it's oriented correctly. So I'm going to go back and look at the test question, and I can see how it is. Now this would be set up, it probably doesn't say anywhere in here, but this is set up in an isometric format. So let's go ahead and back to ours, and I'm just going to go up to my view orientations, and I'm going to choose isometric, and that's going to set it up in the isometric format. Now if we go back to this question again, I can see it comes out, then it goes down a little, and then it goes over, and then it comes up. And there's going to be some angles I'm going to plug in, but I'm going to try to get it in the ballpark first. So let's see. This guy went down a little bit. This guy came over a little bit, and this guy came up a little bit. All right, so that's close. Now we're going to go plug our dimensions in. So when I go back to the question, I'm going to see that A is 25 degrees, B is 125 degrees, C is 130 degrees. So there's A, there's B, there's C. So 25 degrees. And I warn you, it won't always be exactly what it says. So we're going to tell this face and this face to have an angle of 25 degrees. And it's going to look like that. Not anywhere near what I wanted. So I'm going to click this flip dimension to send it the other way. And that didn't do anything. I'm going to click this aligned to send it the other way. Now that is 25 degrees going down, just like that. So I feel pretty confident that's correct. So I'm going to accept that. Now the next one we saw was that B, and that's on the far sides of it, or the back sides, and that's 125 degrees. So let's go ahead and rotate this guy around, and we're going to say from that face to that face, the angle should be 125 degrees. And that does look like what we're going after, which is that bend over there. And so we're going to go ahead and accept that. And the last one we want is from this face to this face. And they said 130 degrees. So we'll type in 130, which is already really close to that. And we're going to say, okay. So all of our angles should now be locked into place. I'm going to close that. I'm going to test this. Am I able to move the parts? Nope, that didn't move. Am I able to move this part? Nope. Am I able to move this part? Nope. They're all locked into place. I'm going to put it back into an isometric view, which really will be from this corner. That, compared to that, they look pretty darn similar. So what we're going to do is go up to our Evaluate. We're going to go to Mass Properties. And what we're looking for right now is the center of mass. That's some position. It's this little pink thing right here. We never would have been able to come up with that if we didn't do this exactly correct. 348.66 for the X. I'm going to look on here. That is option A. The X was exact. If you look at 88.48 and 91.40, it's exactly where we are here. They were both negatives. That is the exact answer. That is how this question is done.